Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Nonprofit Executive Spotlight, where we feature nonprofit management professionals seeking their next opportunity. I'm your host, Cecilia Sepp. I'm a certified association executive, and I also am a certified nonprofit professional, and I am the principal and founder of Road Tulips Consulting. I want to welcome you to this segment, and most importantly, I'm excited about welcoming my friend Enid-Mai Jones to the show. So, Enid-Mai, welcome to the show. You have a vast amount of experience in our profession, and I know somebody is going to want to add you to their team. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Cecilia. Thank you for having me here. I'm a certified association executive with 30 years of experience in association management. I've worked for both trade and professional societies, and I'm looking for my next leadership role. I bring with my experience and skills, I will bring my servant leadership, my ability to create and communicate visions, particularly also promoting and initiating change. I really function at a high level of foresight. I value diversity, and I tried when managing to really achieve balance between managing staff, managing volunteers.
That is a lot of managing.
Yes.
So, yeah, and that is really a lot of what a leader does. I would agree. It's relationship management, and it's getting to know people, connecting them, and finding the best way to work with them. So one of the questions that I have for you is, what is your definition of leadership? How would you define a leader?
For me, a leader is someone who can stand, especially in our industry, who stands at a unique position of really being a conduit between volunteers and staff. That person is very dynamic in being able to really develop that line of communication, being able to really define the vision of an organization and put it into perspective for new volunteers, particularly new volunteers and staff. So a leader in our industry, as we know, always have to juggle two things, specifically volunteers and staff, and create that balance.
I think that is an excellent definition of leadership and what leaders do. It's a lot about balance. You mentioned you have the Certified Association Executive credential. Going through that process and ultimately earning the CAE, how did that influence or expand your understanding of leadership?
In the past, I've really functioned as a leader who was really more operational than high level. So really achieving my CAE brought all of what it is that your chief staff officer is supposed to be. So I really began to understand that there is a higher level that you need to operate from when you're wanting to lead a nonprofit.
And I think you mentioned the word operational. And as you and I have talked about before, you and I, you know this about me. I do not look at operations as unimportant. It's very strategic in a lot of ways. And unfortunately, too many people overlook it. So in your opinion, what is the contribution strategically of operations to the overall success of the organization?
I really enjoy the operational aspect of association management. It's the ability to be collaborative with every department and every unit in an association, bringing those units into focus to develop programs to meet your members' needs. And those programs are valuable and they are very impactful to building up your members and making them either more successful in their jobs and or their functioning department.
And, beautifully said, because if there's nothing holding people together, they're just going to drift away, right? They'll just drift apart. So let me ask you another question, be a little more specific. We've been talking a lot about leadership, and I know you are a leader. You've accomplished quite a lot in your career. What is one of your favorite projects when you look back at your career? What is something you did that you look back and say, wow, I really enjoyed doing that. It was a great time and a great outcome.
One of my favorite, it wasn't just a project. I believe one of my favorite positions is the position I had at the Beacon Institute. Just the fact that I inherited something that was 15 years old but could not grow, was not growing. And together with my team, we transformed over a 14-year period, we transformed the Institute into becoming the premier educator for senior care providers in Maryland. So we grew that institute from $100,000 in revenue, non-dues revenue, to $1 million. And really, we produce quality education. So we came from about 35 education to over 100 in-person education, and we did close to 60 online education. So when COVID hit, we were at the prime position to transition all our in-person to online, which did not impact revenue. And in fact, the Beacon continues to grow, even though I'm no longer there. It continues to grow because I really did set a strong foundation for the organization.
That is an incredible statistic. From 100,000 to 1 million.
1 million in 10 years, yes.
Wow, in just 10 years? That's fantastic. That's like 100% growth for 10 years every year, right?
Yes.
Is my math right? Oh my gosh, that is amazing. So you're not just a leader, you're a transformational leader.
Yes, I am. I'm a transformational leader, and I'm innovative because not all of the education we produce were starting from scratch. We decided that, I decided that most of the members were looking for certification courses. So why recreate the wheel? So I'm also very good at developing partnership with organizations that have like programs that we both can benefit out of. So that was a huge part of the increase in our offerings, being able to co-sponsor education with other long-term care associations and businesses around the nation and gain revenue from there. That was the low-hanging fruit that was missing in what they used to do, really.
That is incredible. Congratulations on that. That is an amazing project.
Yes, I'm really proud of the growth that we brought to the Institute.
Well, and as you said, you established such a strong system that it continues to maintain itself, and not just maintain itself, but grow over time. So you were able not just to transform that program, but to give it a long life.
Yes, definitely.
So you get really excited when you talk about education, even more excited than when you talk about operations. So I know those are your two areas that you're very passionate and excited about. So let's talk a little bit about education. What is the thing that gets you really excited about education?
For me, producing education that helps your members really excel in their position or grow. We all, as association management professionals, strive for the CAE. So there are so many professions where there is the pinnacle of education. So just helping, particularly a new entry into the profession or a student member that has transitioned to a professional member, but just helping them grow over a period of time is exciting for me. Be able to educate people, regardless of whether it's more in line with the profession or what we call soft skills, those management skills, management courses, leadership courses, and diversity courses. Mixing all of that to create a well-rounded individual.
That well said. I agree with that. We want well-rounded individuals, and I think in our world today, we seem to be fragmenting, and people get isolated, and so that sometimes can become an obstacle to that personal development. So that is a great way to say it. I love that. So let's talk about what kind of an organization you would like to go to. So do you have, not necessarily a specific place, unless you want to share that, like if you went to work at a certain organization, but what type of an organization would you like to bring your skill set and leadership ability to?
I do want to return to professional societies or professional association. I really miss that, really being more involved with the individual member and watching the growth of that member, and working with members to really lift and elevate a profession. So for me, that will be my next move to a professional society. But I'm also looking for a well-balanced organization. We've seen how within the last 3 years, things have changed. It's important that we as leaders really look towards the well-being of our employees. So for me, the culture of my next organization must really take into account that we've learned that our lives are not segmented. We don't leave home and come to work and leave all our personal things all the time. Sometimes those things will flow into our professional life. So kindness, being thoughtful, being committed to our employees, but also showing people grace is really important to me.
I think that is a great culture. And if you find that place and they have an opening, let me know.
I'm keeping the faith.
Well, and I think that place is out there. I agree with you. And I think that's part of the wonderful aspect of nonprofit management is we don't exist just to make money. We do need to have revenue, of course. You're very good at raising revenue. But there is that desire to do something for the world around us. And that's really what we can do. It gives us an opportunity to make the world a better place. So, you have two areas that you really love, education and operations. At this point in your career, where you do have such an array of knowledge and experience, and you've proven yourself that you make things happen, is there one area you would prefer over the other? So for example, would you love to be like a vice president for education, or are you looking for that top seat at the chief staff executive level?
It would be nice to become a chief staff executive. But at this point in my career, I'm looking at everything. Mm-hmm. and looking at the position and how it fits into my future. I'm looking for a position that I can really come in and be innovative and real creative, and working to move that organization mission forward. So I don't want to limit myself. If a chief staff executive position open up, that'd be great. a chief operating officer, that'd be great. A head of education, that'd be fine too. So I'm still enjoying those aspects of my career that I have focused on these last 30 years.
And I think that is great to keep your options open. And I think employers really need to look at the people as opposed to the job. So don't just try to fit somebody into your square slot or your circle slot, whatever it might be. Talk to people and find out how they can elevate your organization. And
Definitely. Because a lot of times, people have titles, but they do much more. I always said that I've always been a CEO or executive director without a title because my positions always had a combination of being responsible for finances, boards, committee, everything that a chief staff officer does, I've done. I just never had the title, but I've always done it.
I love that. And you have, I mean, as you and I've gotten to know each other over the last few years, and you've told me about your experience and what you do, you definitely have acted as a chief staff executive without portfolio.
Yes.
So I think that's a great description of yourself. So a nonprofit executive spotlight, Enid-Mai, I like to ask people to give us a closing statement. What would you like people to take away from getting to know you today? And how can they get in touch with you, whether it's by email or LinkedIn?
I do pay close attention to my LinkedIn. So people can always reach me through LinkedIn or my first name at gmail.com, no hyphen, is my personal email. So I am looking for an opportunity to help lead an organization, an opportunity where I can function in the capacity of a leader and promote growth and serve the members to the best of our abilities.
That's a wonderful closing statement. And I would just like to say to the audience, I have gotten to know Enid-Mai over the last few years. She would be a great addition to any team, especially at the senior leadership level. So I encourage you all to reach out to Enid-Mai and talk with her about how she can add to your team and your organization and help it grow. So on behalf of myself and Enid-Mai, thank you for joining us, and we'll be back again unless everybody gets a job.